Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Wholesale. Hardknocks. Back. Another episode number 63. We got myself, Mike Gomes. We got my guy, Daryll Ellison, coming up here in a couple minutes. Now, last week, if you guys did not watch that episode, I dropped some sauce. Daryll had to leave. And in the last part of the podcast episode, I don't know what got into me. I did not plan on talking about that, but literally, we talked about the blueprint on how to get rich with wholesaling. Not with wholesaling, actually, with real estate, because getting rich wholesaling is going to be tiring. So I went through a whole entire thing. I'm not going to go through it again, but ultimately, I gave you guys the blueprint on what it looks like realistically, what it realistically looks like to scale out of a wholesaling business and then go build your portfolio and all that type of stuff. Because here's the deal. If you ask like 9 out of 10 people what their goal is in real estate, and I'm going to give you guys a second. I'm going to pause. I'm not going to say it really right away. But if I ask somebody, hey, what is your goal? Why are you getting into this real estate thing? What are you trying to accomplish here in 5 years? The majority of people are going to say, what I want you guys to think really quick. What do you think most people are going to say?
12 seconds later.
Most people are going to say, I want to produce passive income so that I don't have to work, so I can spend time with my family and everything like this. But it's this whole entire thing about passive income and making a bunch of money and owning properties without having to really do anything. That's pretty much what everybody says, right? Because that's what everybody thinks real estate is. Now, real estate can be like that, and passive income with like holding properties and stuff like that and having renters, it is passive, meaning you're investing into something and it's producing cash flow and you don't really have to manage it. But at the end of the day, you still do have to manage it. Even if you have a property management company, you still have to manage the property management company. So there's always something to do. There's never truly passive. If you're looking for truly passive income, your best bet is to get into all the freaking bonds and that type of stuff. That's you just put your money into it and it comes back. Because most people will say, well, Mike, what if you lent your money out and you were like a hard money lender or you were a broker or something like that? No, that takes effort. That's a business. A hard money lending business is a business. Yes, the investing part of it, like sending the money out for a project, that's passive. The money's working for itself, but you still have to go out and you still have to market for people. You still have to go find the fix and flippers. I talk to so many lenders all the time, especially hard money lenders. They're like, bro, I have no deals right now. I don't know what the heck is going on. It's dry out here. They got to go out and they got to hustle and they got to go find clients to give their money to because there's so many freaking hard money lenders everywhere. So lending, yes, can be passive once you actually have the client in there, but you got to go find the client. You got to go work and hustle and sell to find that client, right? So even that's not passive. So what I'm getting at is at the end of the day, real estate never really is passive like they're talking about, even when you're holding on to properties now. I'm going to stop there because we're getting off topic now. But what I'm trying to say is wholesaling is the gateway to get you to all the other things that you want to do in real estate, right? Now, what I talked about last week is, yes, that's you're probably thinking to yourself, Mike, that's what everybody says. Yes, you wholesale and then you fix and flip and then you buy and hold properties and you just got to graduate, right? And that is the case. That's what we do. That's what makes the most sense. You're graduating, right? You're going from wholesaling to fixing and flipping and developing to holding on to properties, doing multifamily, all that type of stuff. It's like the freaking blueprint on what everybody pretty much in real estate abides by. That's what Bigger Pockets is going to tell you. That's what all these people are going to say. And it's honestly a very good way to go. But here's the deal. A lot of people will tell you that you need to make a ton of money and you need to build this big wholesaling business when you really don't. when honestly, it's not even that realistic. Like a lot of people are showing all these numbers on Instagram and stuff like that of how they're making, like let's just say $500,000 to $1 million a month in their wholesaling business. And they got freaking 30 deals on the whiteboard. And they're like, yeah, we're crushing it, doing a ton of deals and whatever the case is. To be honest, that yes, it's realistic, meaning like you can make it happen, right? But at the end of the day, it's really not that realistic for people that don't have access to that much capital, because if you are going to be doing that much volume, you have to be pumping a lot into marketing, like you're doing very expensive marketing like PPC and everything like that. So it is expensive to build something like that, for one, but for two, to manage something like that is even more expensive in my mind. Because I'm like, all the time and energy that I would put into building like a $500,000 business, I could just go put into somewhere else. So what I'm trying to get at, and this, we went over this last week a little bit, and we'll keep talking about it until Daryll comes up here. You can very realistically build a direct to seller wholesaling business that is producing somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 a month. Like, it is so realistic. It's very simple. It is not easy, like I said last week, but it is very simple. It's very simple. If you just follow a guideline step by step on what to do, it is very simple. You just got to go out and take the action. Okay. I was just on a call with somebody earlier. They were like, Mike, I don't know if I would be a good fit for any type of mentorship, because what if I pay for the mentorship and 30 or 60 days in, I don't end up taking action? I was like, well, you probably wouldn't be a good fit for that mentorship, because you're probably not going to produce that many results in 30 or 60 days. But I'll tell you, if it's the right mentorship and they have a good structure and they're actually teaching you the right things, if you keep at it for 60, 90 days, the very simple blueprint that they're giving you is going to work if you put the effort in, if you put the work in. It will work if you work, essentially. So that is a very simple concept, right? If you work, it'll work. If you swing a hammer and hit a nail, the nail is going to go in. If you were just sitting there looking at the nail with your hammer in the hand, it's not going to go in. You're never going to actually get the hammer in the wood. I mean, the hammer, the nail in the wood, right? So you actually have to work, but it's a very simple concept. Hey, I have this hammer. I have a nail right here. All I have to do is swing this thing down, hit the nail, and it goes in. That's literally what wholesaling could be. Okay. So once we understand that and we have a blueprint that we can abide by, we just simply abide by the blueprint, take the action, keep working consistently, be relentless, build a skill set. Then you have that skill set. Then you'll go get rich. This is how you get rich off of wholesaling. You don't actually get rich off of like the transactions and money that you're making in wholesaling. You get rich off of wholesaling because it's very realistic and easy to scale yourself out of and free up your time so that you're not working that much, so you can go build the other businesses that actually get you rich. Because wholesaling is not going to get you rich. It's just going to get you tired. And now it's essential. It's essential because you are going to end up being able to take everything that you've used out of that wholesaling business and got out of that wholesaling business, and you're going to be able to use that to go build other partnerships, build other businesses, build your portfolio and everything. It's going to be your heartbeat that gets you to that point. But it's going to take you some time and effort in order to do that. And that's cool. But as long as you are like, you have the mindset where you're just like, you know what? I'm going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to make this thing happen no matter what. I have a roadmap here on what I got to do. Let me just follow the roadmap. It'd be very similar to just having your GPS on and your GPS saying, okay, Mike, you got to go travel 1,000 miles down to Florida. You got to take this road, that road, the other road, take that highway and just keep going. I just got to hop in my car and I just got to keep going. I might get tired along the way. I might be like, dude, this drive is crazy. I'm done with this drive. But as long as you just stay on the drive, at some point you are going to get to that destination. So that's all wholesaling is. But what I tell people is you got to be super focused on the thing at hand. So when you're building the business, I'll tell you guys a story. I was building my wholesaling business in the beginning, and we were going super fast. Like I'm talking about like once I started gaining traction, I brought on a partner onto the business, and then once I brought that partner on the business, like it freed up my time, so I didn't have to do any of the integration stuff. I didn't have to do any of the lead gen stuff. I just focused on sales and converting, and all of a sudden we started cranking. We were doing like 8 deals a month, literally in the course of like 2 or 3 months. We started doing that, cranking, and I was laser focused on nothing else, not on content, not on anything. Literally, the only thing I was focused on was locking up deals that were coming in our CRM. That's the only thing that I was focused on. Then we bring in an acquisition manager, and I started focusing on getting him up to speed and talking to sellers at the same time. We were doing okay. We started slowing down a little bit, but then I started focusing on other things. I started focusing on the brand and all this type of stuff. I started focusing on a bunch of different things besides the wholesaling business. And all of a sudden we started slowing down. We had like 2 months in a row with no contracts because I took my focus off. Now I found out, I learned from this, there's a way to actually do this by, slowly taking your focus off and scaling out of it. What I did is I just like built it. I was like, okay, here you go. Boom, I'm out. Left, started doing other different things, turned a blind eye, and all of a sudden it slowed down like almost completely. Now you don't want to just completely leave. That's a whole entire different thing, like getting into like scaling out of. I learned that I had to slowly scale out of it. So now that I have slowly scaled out of my business, the business is still producing without me having to be there. Okay. So we are talking about today direct to seller marketing because we did not really get to dig into it last week because for like the last 30 minutes, we got on the topic that I'm on right now, talking about scaling out and like the actual reality and how realistic it is to scale yourself out of a wholesaling business without bashing your head against the wall trying to build a freaking crazy monster sales department when you really don't need to do that. Okay. So we're diving into direct to seller marketing. So to give you an understanding of how my business, there he is. What's good,
Doug? What's up, bro?
Man. Bruh. I've been talking about the past, so you know how you had to jump last week?
Yeah.
We stayed on the topic of like direct to seller, but ended up drifting into not needing to scale to a crazy high point, like $500,000 in your wholesale business or whatever it is. Pretty much what I was discussing is it is so realistic and it is right in front of your face. Like it's the most simplest thing. If you just follow a freaking outline and a blueprint on how to build a wholesaling business, you can build it and produce like 50 to 100K a month very easily. Would you agree?
I wouldn't say easily. I would say very simply.
It's very simple. You took the words out of my mouth. I said that probably like 10 times already. Very, very simply. Like it's literally just like pulling levers, looking at numbers, literally just following a guideline. And you can simply build a business that's producing you 50 to 100K a month. Dude, think about what 50 to 100K a month is. Like I say that like it's nothing, but dude, that's a lot of freaking money.
It is. It really is. So I'll play the devil's advocate a little bit because this is something that we're actually going through right now in our business. And following that outline and that blueprint is good. I think it'd take you to a certain point, but I think in order to get to that consistent 6 figures a month, you have to have some type of edge over your competition, right? You need to. You need to be doing something different than what everybody else is doing, what the industry is telling you to do. If you want to take it to the very next level, you know what I mean? That's something that we're working on right now, right? Like for instance, this is something that we're like actually working on changing in our business right now. Like we had a meeting on it today. The industry tells us, for instance, go get virtual assistants, Filipino cold callers to make the first touch, right? To do your cold calling, right? And we were thinking about it, and it's like, how many times do you Mike, like if you get somebody call you and it's just like a crazy accent and you really don't understand them, right? How often do you just stay on the phone with them? Probably just hang up.
Stay on the phone with anybody.
Right. And the accent doesn't help it at all. Right. So we're like, why do we do this? Why do we have virtual people who have a sometimes an accent that's a little crazy, be our first touch, right? When it's supposed to be like we're supposed to make an impression, right? Like we want to grab their attention right away and let them know, like, hey, I want you to work with us, right? Why is that our go-to to go with somebody who has a whether it's an accent issue or if it's like a culture issue, right? Like, don't you think that's a little odd? You know what I mean?
Can I answer?
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about it.
Because it works, and it like I have proven that it works.
It works, but it also doesn't work a lot. How often, like how often do you have your VA? Do you ever listen to a VA call and you have you listen to it and they say, hey, this is whoever from wherever, and they just hear the accent and it's okay, click on a cold call.
I haven't listened to a VA call in probably 2 years because I scaled myself out of that, because literally my VAs just generate minimum 3 to 4 leads a day. I don't care if they got told no 800 times that day. If they generated 4 leads and that 4 leads is going to produce contracts, then dude, I don't care how many opportunities they miss, to be honest. If I know that I'm pouring in $5,000 to $10,000 a month and 50 to 100K is coming back. To be honest, if I'm out of it, because that's not my goal. My goal isn't to completely extract every single opportunity. My goal is to make a certain amount of money every single month where I can predict it and I just know that it's happening. That way, I'm not sitting here bashing my head against the wall, building a wholesaling business, trying to extract every single opportunity when I should be directing my time building things like my fix and flip business and my buy and hold business and my brand and everything like that. I don't think all the time and effort should be put into building a wholesaling business, is what I'm saying, because that's freaking tiring.
I hear that. Well, for people who want to build a wholesaling business, though, you know what I mean? Because there's people who are building a wholesale business to free themselves to go do other things, right? Mm-hmm. And like, yes, you may have pulled yourself out of that position, but somebody still needs to listen to those calls, right? Like that may be where we differ a little bit, right? Like, I want every opportunity, right? Like, we're paying for this shit. This is marketing money, right? So I want to figure out, as a business owner, as somebody who's working on the business, how do we extract all the value from every single marketing dollar that we spend, right? And that's what we're trying to figure out, right? Like, we're spending $5K a month on generating leads, and yeah, we get 3 leads a day, but how many of those leads are actually motivated? How many of those leads did we leave on the table because we don't even know that they're leads, because from the beginning of the call, the owner just didn't trust the voice on the other side of the phone and just hung up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want to, like, I truly think you can scale out. You can definitely scale out by putting somebody in position to actually manage that, right? So yeah, it's not you listening to those calls, but you have a manager in place that's listening to those calls and having those and listening to those conversations be had, right? But it's important to, like, and for us, it's just like just being different, right? So like, what we're starting to do is like, all of our acquisitions people are about to be just straight acquisitions people. You know, like, if they have to cold call, then they're going to cold call, right? And we're trying to get some of the best people that we have getting in front of and it's going to be a split test type of thing, but we're going to see if we can get some of the people who maybe are new to the team, right? But don't have any accent. They're American. They have a conversation with the cold call, on a cold call, right? Like they have actual cold call conversations for part of their day, and then they come to follow up, and they take that lead from the cold call to the follow up to the close. You know what I mean? It's just something that we're playing around with because that's because just like I was saying to start it off, right? You know, yes, you can follow a blueprint, but they talk about yeah, it works, right? But to what extent? You know what I mean? Like how efficient does it work? Right? Like it works, but like you said, right? Like you're letting a lot of leads fall through the cracks because you only want to make a certain amount every month. What if you could be making 500K a month just from getting those answers that have been falling through the cracks? You know what I mean? Like what if you could spend 5K a month on lead generation and get double the leads that you were getting because you had an American on the phone or a voice on the phone that was actually just that they weren't hanging up on just because of the accent. You know what I mean? So something to test, right? Like when you're a business owner.
I definitely like that you're testing it and trying different stuff. Just to be completely honest, I've had this, like, just to be completely honest about my opinion about it. I've had a direct to seller wholesaling business with virtual assistants for like 2 or 3 years that has been consistently producing deals. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's literally to a T. If you just follow this script, if you just follow how to manage the VAs and when to have meetings and what those meetings should be like. And if you literally just do this from A to Z, it works. Now, to your point, it's going to work better for other people because maybe more people are going to micromanage a little bit more and make sure that nothing else gets extracted. Those people are probably going to be working in their business a little bit more than most. That's fine. If that's what they want to do, then they're going to make, $50,000 more a month or something than the next person, then whatever. You see what I mean? But at the end of the day, what I was trying to get at is there's something in like having a realistic opportunity in front of your hands, because a lot of people are talking about I'm showing, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but showing, hey, here's my deal board. I have freaking 30 deals on the board. I have this going on. I'm making $1 million a month in wholesaling. That's freaking great. That really is. I'm not saying that that's unrealistic. That is realistic. People can do that. But at the end of the day, there's people, and the majority of people, Daryl, that this is like realistic for is a business that simply they need maybe 6 people on their team. In the course of 12 months, they can scale it to 50 to 100K a month. And I'm saying that is very realistic for some people. But what happens is people will sell the lifestyle, sell all the flashy cars, sell the deal board, sell the money on the freaking CRM that they're making to people that is unrealistic, not showing them, oh, dude, I started this wholesaling business with $100,000 liquid cash to dump into PPC market, and I already had 10 years of sales experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And what I'm trying to get at is like, dude, like literally you can build a business in 12 months if you just follow a guideline and build a skill that is producing a lot more money than you're making in your 9 to 5. And essentially you're going to be able to scale out of it. Now, to your point, I think being different helps a lot. And that's why we actually have a lot of stuff that's different in our business than most people. Okay, Daryl got caught. I like what Daryl's saying though. You gotta be different. So for example, like the stuff that we have in our script, the stuff that we are doing to scrape data, things like that, a lot of it is a lot more different than other businesses. But it is just a blueprint that you follow. And like literally, we do the same exact thing every single day, every single week. It's literally the same exact process every single day, every single week. And ultimately, there's like obviously some sort of numbers that it shifts by, but ultimately we can predict how much is going to happen on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week, on a month-to-month basis. And that's like contracts, revenue, leads, all that type of stuff. Cool. So people in the chat, Joe, what up, bro? People in the chat, let me know what y'all think. If y'all have been listening for the past like 10 minutes, let me know what y'all think. Would y'all rather try to like bash your head against a wall and build, this business where you're like looking at everything, tweaking everything and making sure that you're extracting every single opportunity? Or would y'all rather just have something that is consistent every single week, every single day, every single month, producing you something where you could just scale yourself out of? Consistent for sure. And I'm not saying that the other stuff isn't consistent. All I'm saying is it takes a lot, yo. Like it takes a lot to if think about it. These businesses that are producing like so much revenue every single month, like these wholesaling businesses that are producing $250,000, $500,000, all that stuff really does matter. Like making sure that you're getting every single opportunity, because everything is super expensive. You're paying for like $300 per lead, right? You're doing a lot of like it's very expensive. So you don't really have margin for error because everything's so expensive, and you're doing a lot of volume, right? So you have to really fine tune absolutely everything. But if you keep it intimate, right, and you create a culture and you create the right systems and processes around something that's realistic and manageable, then dude, you can build a business that is going to be like really fruitful for you and your family, that you're going to be able to only have to work an hour or two a day and then take your time and energy elsewhere. Because let's think about this. Guys in the chat, if you guys and gals in the chat, if you guys end up having $50,000 to $100,000 a month, is that going to change your life or what? If you're like right now, let's just say the average American, let's see what the average American is making. Let's see. Joel says, I'm kind of like a hoarder in terms of opportunities. Try to go after every opportunity I see as a connector / visionary, which I agree. Like I used to, back when I was hustling, I used to have this saying called any and every. On any and every lead, on any and every whatever, right? And to be honest, bro, that is tiring. What if you could just have something that was predictable, that you could just be like, yo, I don't really have to sweat any and every. I could just, predict that this is going to happen and that is going to come in and that my team is going to work and all I have to do is this, that, and the other, and it just happens every single month. That sounds a little bit less overwhelming to me. How do you stay focused on lists? There's always hundreds uploading every day. Yeah, so what we'll do is pretty much every month we'll pull all the same lists. So we don't really focus on like one specific list, right? So a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is a bad strategy, but a lot of people will focus on like just pre-foreclosures or focus on just probates or whatever the case is. And it's cool. That's hard to scale out of because it's very honed in on one skill. Like if you're the probate guy in town, you're the only one going after probate leads, it's going to be hard to scale a business off of your knowledge and skill in probate. You see what I mean? So what we do is we'll pick like 10 different lists, pre-foreclosures, vacants, absentee owners, divorces, tax liens, like all the things that you can think about where somebody might have some sort of pain to sell their property. And we'll pull that pretty much every single month. And we'll skip trace it. We'll have the team get after it. My team tackles a bunch of data too. So it would be kind of hard to focus on one specific list. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll just get a new list of that every single month. Yeah. So Joe, what we'll do, right, is we'll make our sales process that we have will extract what list essentially that person is on. So we're never like only focusing on pre-foreclosures and going into the conversation and saying, hey, I see that your property's in pre-foreclosure. No, we just have the same sales process for every single lead. And then through that sales process, we end up finding out what the seller's problem is. And that's ultimately how we end up selling them on the deal. So I was talking to my acquisition manager today, and he's getting into a new type of sales. He's getting into what we call high ticket sales. And it's pretty much the same exact thing, but you're just selling a service or whatever it is, right? And I'm like, dude, it's literally the same exact thing as talking to a seller. You are having a conversation, you're figuring out what's going on with somebody, what they're looking to accomplish, what their problem is, and then you're simply providing them a solution to that problem on a silver platter. So there's two things here. There's one, figuring out what the story is. And did I say two? I meant three. There's three things. There's one, finding the story and figuring out the problem in that story. And then there's two, finding a solution to that problem, right? And presenting that solution on a silver platter. And then there's three, closing. They're all three different things, and they all require three different techniques and skill sets and everything like that. But literally, if you could just do those three things, you can pretty much close any deal. I forget what I was going to look at on my computer. So Joel says he's doing direct to agent. Yeah, direct to agents it's all the same stuff. All sales is literally all the same stuff. If you just figure out what the story is, you could be selling shoes. Somebody comes into the shoe store. Hey, tell me what's going on with you. What type of shoes are you looking for? What's got you in the door today? And they start telling you, well, I actually have this wedding that I'm going to in 2 weeks. I need a size 10. The suits are blue, so I need a white shoe. I'm saying this because I'm literally in a wedding in a couple of weeks. I'm wearing a blue suit with white shoes. But the suit is blue. I need some white shoes. They're a size 10. The wedding's in 2 weeks. I went to a couple stores so far. Didn't really like the shoes. Liked one of them, but they didn't have my size and it wouldn't have come in time. So I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Oh, Mike, come over here. I got the shoes that are best for you. You present the solution on a silver platter. Literally, I have the shoes. I have the white shoes that are right here. They're a size 10. I actually have them in the back, so you don't have to wait a couple weeks. Let's move forward. I don't know. It's a little bit too much. How much did you say that they were $200? Yeah, they're $200. Yeah, this might be a little. Well, Mike, how much were you hoping to spend on these shoes? Well, my budget was like 150. Now I'm getting into the clothes. Okay, my budget was like 150. Okay, well, let's think about this. How many stores have you went to so far? Well, I went to about like 5 different stores so far. Okay, well, how many stores do you think you're going to go to after this? Man, to be completely honest with you, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done shopping at this point. So hear me out, Mike. I know you said your budget is $150, but what's an extra $50? Oh, I guess you're right. Well, let's think about this. Like, really think about it. The extra $50 is going to save you the headache from going to all the other stores, which you said that you're probably not going to go to anyways. And then you'd be shit out of luck with no shoes. That's the close. So I found a situation. I ended up figuring out a solution to the problem. And then I had to close him on that solution because he might have been like, I don't know if I'm ready yet. Okay. That's all sales is in like any industry. It's the freaking simplest thing if you just follow that. So Joel says, so on the basics, it's qualification, finding the story, overcoming the sales objections and resistance, disqualifying, being the authority figure with the solution, etc. Yes, I love what you said. The last thing that you said, being the authority figure with the solution, that is being a closer. Now, it's very important to be able to extract the information from somebody and build a relationship with them and bond with them and be personable and handling objections and doing all that type of stuff. That's very, very important. And that's what I call like the foundation of sales. Like once you do that, you can extract an opportunity out of everywhere. And if you can't close it, then you could just send it to somebody else that knows how to close it. And you'll always be able to make money if you have that foundation and skill set. But where you really make your money is where you get people to buy or you get people to sign a contract. That's a different type of skill to have. What that really comes down to is just super confidence and being sold yourself. I think that I would say there's three things to being a like really killer closer. It's being super confident, for one. It's being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, like asking the uncomfortable questions. Like, for example, that example that I was just talking about, telling somebody, well, hey, what's an extra 50 bucks? That's kind of an uncomfortable place to put yourself in. But if you're a closer, you got to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. Okay. Oh, this is good. This wasn't supposed to be a sales episode, but sales is my favorite freaking thing in the world. Joel says, let's say you are selling a car or buying a car. How would you go for that example? Oh, gosh. Okay. So first off, I'm going to tell you guys how not to go about it. Okay. So this was probably like 4 years ago. I buy this car and, my homie sees that I buy a car. And he's like, Mike, where'd you buy that car, bro? I'm looking to buy a new car. Homeboy's car was literally like jacked up. He had like a broken mirror in the back. He had broken windows, all things. Thing was so bad he needed a new car. So he's like, Mike, where'd you get your new car? I want to go. I want to go to the same spot you got your car. I like your car. I'm like, hey, well, I went to the one down the street. You want to come with me? He's like, yeah, sure. So I go with him to the dealership that I went to and I got my car. I referred him to the sales guy that closed me. Now, the sales guy did not close me. The sales guy kind of stunk. The sales guy never closed me. I closed me. I was like, I already know what I'm getting. I'm walking in the door. I'm buying that car. You don't even have to tell me where are the papers. Boom. I am like the easiest sale in the world. By the way, that's one part of being a good closer. Good closers get sold very easy. So I walk into any store like I'm getting sold. I'm a sucker. So I walk into the store with my homie, and the sales guy that didn't close me, but I closed me in that situation. He walks up to my homie and he's like, "Hey, bro, thanks for coming in. What are you looking for today?" And my homie's like, "Well, I'm looking for a car." Like very, very just simple, vague, not really digging into like what type of car, anything like that. Salesman goes, all right, cool. Well, you came to the right place. Go out there, take a look at some cars. Let me know what you like and come back in. And I'm like, no. I'm like, and I'm just sitting back. I'm like, this guy's never going to close. This guy's not going to sell my homie on a car. My homie's going to walk out of here. I know my homie. I know he's just going to walk. He's going to look around and say, I'm good, and then leave. He probably won't even go back inside. So my homie literally walks around the car lot, right? Starts looking at all the cars and goes back to the salesman because the salesman comes outside. Actually, he doesn't just stay in the car. So the salesman comes back outside, walks back up to him, says, hey, man, I'm just not really ready to pull the trigger on a car. Yo, homeboy's windows were broken. His freaking car was about to fall apart. It was about to be on fire, dog. Like, it was bad. He needed a new car. But the salesman never took the opportunity to actually ask him what was going on. My homie just is very indecisive and he needs somebody to push him. Like, for example, if I wanted him to, go out to lunch or go hang out, do whatever, right? I would have to push him to do that. He's a very indecisive person. Oh, I don't know. I might have a lot of stuff going on that day. Like, that's the type of person that he is. right? So the salesman did a very poor job of figuring that out, for one, but figuring out what the heck that he needed. He should have. Now we're getting into, Joe, we're getting into your question. If somebody comes on the car lot, right? I'm asking him all the things. Hey, I like what he started with. What's got you in today? Well, need a new car. Great. Tell me, like, what is the situation with your car right now? Boom. I have this shit box that's about to fall apart. This, that, and the other. It's a 4-door sedan. I don't really have any kids. It's just me. Okay, what do you usually drive the car for? I just boot around town and stuff like that, but I'm actually getting into Uber. So I would like to have a car that's going to be good for Uber and stuff like that. Now I'm getting a whole entire story. Now I'm figuring out what this guy's, best car is going to be. And I'm literally going to walk him to the car. I'm going to say, all right, let's take a test drive. And I'm going to present the solution to him, which is the car in that situation. Hey, this thing is perfect for Uber. It's good on gas. Right. And I'm going to present the things that he needs, all the problems that he has told me about. Let's just say he needs a car for Uber. He needs a car that's reliable because he's sick of, repairing his car. He needs a small car because it's just himself. He wants a black car because that's his favorite color. All these things. I would literally present all the problems that he had. I would present a solution to those problems on a silver platter after he test drove the car. And I'll tell him, let's move forward. And that's how you sell somebody. Figuring out the problem and then giving the solution to the problem. Freaking love it. Okay, cool. People, this was another episode of Wholesale Hard Knocks. If y'all need any help with anything, feel free to shoot me a DM at the Mike Gomes over here. That's my YouTube thing, but also that's my thing on all socials, Instagram, all the things. Hit me up. I'll help y'all, and I will catch y'all later.